All right, let's talk about gemstones. We're going to peel back the layers on these amazing jewels and uncover some pretty surprising truths. I guarantee, after this, you'll never look at them the same way again. So, you think you know your jewels, right? What's the real difference between a ruby and a sapphire? What makes a diamond so special? Well, stick around because I'm willing to bet that some of the things we're about to get into are going to completely blow your mind. Okay, let's just dive right in with a real bombshell. You ready? Rubies and sapphires, they're the exact same mineral. No joke, they're both corundum. The only thing that sets them apart is their color. If it's red, we call it a ruby. If it's literally any other color, blue, pink, you name it, it's a sapphire. They're basically twins, just with a slightly different chemical recipe. And that idea, of gems not being what they seem, that leads us perfectly into our first topic, some major cases of mistaken identity throughout history. We're talking about times when even kings and queens were completely fooled. So let's go back in time, way back. Picture ancient Egypt. You've got Queen Cleopatra, right? She was famous for a lot of things, but one of them was her absolutely stunning collection of green gems. Everyone, and I mean everyone, thought they were the most amazing emeralds on the planet. Yeah, about that. Turns out modern experts have looked into it, and they're pretty sure Cleopatra's famous emeralds weren't emeralds at all. Nope, they were most likely peridots. A beautiful green gem, for sure, but not an emerald. They were mined from this little island in the Red Sea called Sabargad. So, yeah, one of the most legendary jewelry collections in history was basically built on a huge misunderstanding. Okay, so if gems can be mistaken for each other, what about where they come from? Their origins can be just as surprising. And I'm not just talking about the ground, I'm talking about where their very names come from. Let's take the garnet, for example. You look at that deep, rich, red color, and you'd think its name has to come from something, I don't know, dramatic, right? Like blood or fire. But what if I told you the real story has more to do with your grocery list? It's true, the name garnet has zero to do with blood. It comes from an old Latin word, garnatus, which means seed-like. Why? Because people thought the little red gems looked exactly like pomegranate seeds. How about that? Okay, so we've talked about fruit. Now let's go from the farm stand to outer space. Because, and this is wild, not all gemstones are from Earth. Some of them are literally from the stars. Hey, remember the peridot? Cleopatra's fake emerald? Well, its story gets even crazier. Scientists have found peridots inside meteorites that have crashed right here on Earth. And get this, back in 2005, a space probe actually collected dust from a comet, and when they analyzed it, they found tiny little particles of peridot. So this gem is a legit space traveler. All right, so we've gone from ancient Egypt to deep space. Now let's zoom way in. I'm talking microscopic. Because a gem's real story, its true identity, isn't just its color or where it's from. It's about the entire world hidden inside it. Take an emerald. Most of them have these little tiny lines and specks inside them, right? You might think those are flaws, but gemologists have this beautiful way of describing them. They call it the jardin, that's French for garden, because these little patterns look like moss or vines growing inside the stone. And that internal garden is totally unique to each gem. It's like its own personal fingerprint. Okay, for this next one, I'm just going to give you a number. That's it. 20%. What in the world do you think that has to do with a gemstone? Well, that number is the secret ingredient to the magic of the opal. See, opals aren't really a typical crystal. They're a kind of hardened gel. And here's the kicker. They can be made of up to 20% water. It's that water trapped inside that bends the light and creates that incredible rainbow effect that we call its fire. So we've had mistaken identities, space gems, internal gardens. Now let's get into the fun stuff, busting some myths. It's time to separate the Hollywood stories from what's actually real. And what better place to start than with one of the most famous movie jewels of all time, the heart of the ocean from Titanic. Come on, you know the one. Was that big blue diamond real, or was there actually some kind of amazing treasure that went down with the ship? Well, the short answer is, the heart of the ocean was made up for the movie. But the idea came from a real and really tragic story. There actually was a valuable necklace on the Titanic. It was this gorgeous sapphire and diamond piece that a passenger named Kate Phillips had been given as a gift. Now, she survived, but the necklace, it went down with the ship, lost forever. Speaking of incredible jewels, let's talk about what's rare. We all think of diamonds as being the ultimate rare gemstone, right? Well, what if I told you there's another stone out there that's 1,000 times rarer? I'm talking about tanzanite. This stunning blue-violet gem is, yes, about 1,000 times rarer than a diamond. And the reason why is pretty simple. You can only find it in one place on Earth, a tiny little patch of land in Tanzania near Mount Kilimanjaro. It's just a 4-mile strip that's about 6.5 kilometers. That's it. The world's entire supply comes from right there. All right, let's circle back to the king of gems itself, the diamond. We all know its reputation for being tough, for being indestructible. That idea is actually baked right into its name. The word diamond comes from the Greek word atomos, which literally means unconquerable. But is it really unconquerable? Well, this is where things get a little technical, but it's super interesting. A diamond is the hardest thing in nature. That means pretty much nothing can scratch it. But here's the thing. Hard is not the same as tough. You could take a hammer and give it a good whack, and it would actually shatter. It's hard to scratch, but it's not impossible to break. And after all that, the legends, the sparkle, the talk of being unconquerable, what is a diamond really made of? You're not going to believe how simple this is. It's made of just one element, carbon. That's it. So basically, the most glamorous gem in the world is made of the exact same stuff as a piece of charcoal. It's just been super squeezed under incredible pressure into a perfect crystal. So from space rocks to royal mix-ups to entire gardens hidden inside a single stone, it's pretty clear that gems are so much more than just pretty things to look at, right? They're like these little time capsules of history and science and myth all wrapped up in one. It just goes to show, doesn't it? Even in the things we think we know, there are always these amazing secrets hiding right under our noses, just waiting for us to look a little closer.